Hello, hello everyone. I'm Irene and today I'm going to talk about Microsoft Excel, that a tool that has become very important today in schools. It is an essential tool in schools, businesses and offices. And for me, my scenario is about a school where I am having test scores, or I'm looking at marks of students in two tests. I'm having test 1 and test 2, and we're going to look at how Microsoft Excel can be used to manipulate the data. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application that allows us to enter data in form of rows and columns, as you're seeing here. And we are having the cell names. We can write the cell names as we look at them as we check them out. And I'm going to look at the different ways in which we can work with data on Microsoft Excel. We can work on data as we were having formulas. We can use functions. We can work with charts. We can work with data. We can condition. We can work with pivot tables as we're working with Microsoft Excel. Instead of using manual way of calculations, Microsoft Excel has actually helped me very much as I've been trying to grade the students, as I've been trying to grade my students here in the different tests, and that is test 1, test 2, because I wanted to calculate their average. I wanted to know their grade. I wanted also to give their remarks. And it is actually a very important tool as we're working with decision making. With Microsoft Excel, you can easily even define or find or check out different ways. Maybe here you can check out the highest score, you can check out the lowest score as we're using different functions. Here I was checking out with the lowest score and I used the max. I used the max as I was trying to check in test 1. I was trying to check with test 1 and I wanted to know the lowest score minus me checking out, because you can assume when you're having a large chunk of data and you want to determine the lowest score of students. But if you're working with Microsoft Excel, it makes it easier. For example, here I had to put a formula, I had to put a function, and I was using the mean. Then you have to select the cell references of the students, and if you put them there, then you click enter, it will come on the screen and it will have determined the lowest score. With the high score, we use the max. We can decide to check out when we're checking out. Maybe we can say, if at all we are looking in test 1, let me give with test 1, and you want to sum up a given range. Maybe you're having 23, maybe you want to sum up a given range. You want to know the total of the students. You may even want to determine the number of students that are in that score, as in a range you would have selected. We can use sum if as we want to get the total. Maybe if you want to sum up students who are less or equal to 40, we're having this one, we're having that student. We can do it easily with Microsoft Excel. You're having this one, you can sum up their sum. As you see in this formula, the way I've stated it, I've said sum, I selected a range, and then there's less or equal to 40, and after putting that function, I click enter, and then it displays here. You can also decide to check out the number of students. You may say, I want to know the students who have scored above 90. How do you know that? Is when we use the count if function. The count if function helps us to count the number of students. For example, here for me, I've used it as I was calculating the students who are having exactly 99. And if you check within my data, you find out that the student with where I was checking that was having exactly equal to 99 was 1. And as I check down here, you see that the student is 1. That is how Microsoft Excel works if we look at the count if. Then we can also choose to grade as we use the if function. As you see here, I've said if and I've stated what I want. I want people who are having greater or equal to 80 to have excellent as the comment. As you see how I've stated the formula. And if we check out after doing it, we click enter, and of course we come here and we autofill. We double click on this plus sign, so it will automatically be displayed on the rest of the students. The comments will be there automatically. So as you see, Microsoft Excel actually is helping us do things in a simpler way, because you may have a same comment for all students and it does not necessarily need you to write everywhere the same comment. But with Microsoft Excel, it is very easy. As you work with the first one, you put, as you see, I was working with E6 and I was checking if till I go to the first comment, and then I had to autofill. We can also work with charts, and for me, as you see here, for me here, I was working with charts. You just come within the insert button, you click insert, and then as you come here, there are different ways in which you can display data, and there is this, there are bar graphs, the line graphs, there is pie chart. And for me, I selected as you're seeing here, and still on what you've selected, you can again have more things to check. You keep on moving, you keep on selecting until you get what you feel is what you want. Even when you click here, you still find that you still need more. How can you display this? You see, as we are moving on, it is displaying things in a different way. What you select is what you will go with. And then we can also look at how can we do conditioning. How can we do conditioning? It's a matter of clicking on the buttons. It's a matter of clicking on the buttons, and then you select conditioning. You highlight the cells, and then you come on moving on. You select what you feel is what you want. You'll see the different changes happening within your data. And then maybe we can also look at the aspect of the pivot tables. We click insert, then we go to the pivot table. When we click on it, when you click from the table or range, they will bring for us a table range. But before you do that, you're supposed to first come and select all your work, including the headers. You select it because this is where the data is. All the data we've been working on is here. We're just checking on where we're using the if, as we are using the max, the min, the different functions as we've seen. As we check on with a pivot table, and then we select from table, there is a range, and then there is new worksheet. There is you when you want to take the pivot table in the existing worksheet or new sheet. But as for me, I've done it already. Somewhere here. I've done it here. They'll bring for you different things to select on. But let me first check with this one that I've brought for me. Sheet 4 here. So here, since we've selected all the work, they've brought for us the different options: name, score, automation. As you will be selecting out, you select what you want. You can just select by ticking, or even you can drag and move into the columns. What you select is what will work out. For example, if you do that and that, you see what is happening on the screen. They're creating for us another table. It actually emphasizes more. You may find a spreadsheet with lots and lots of data, and maybe you cannot easily define some, but if someone creates a pivot table, you can find something specific. Maybe you find the names and maybe the test score for a particular score, and it will be easy for you to understand. Then the other aspect we can talk about working with. Maybe the other thing I'd forgotten about the charts. Our chart is here with the charts. I'd forgotten that this chart will first appear within this first page, as we've seen before, and from there you move it. You actually select on it because buttons will be here on your screen, and you just select what you feel you want. You want to move to another slide, you want to be in the same slide, you just select and you have what you want. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you've had a good time with me.